Well, good evening and welcome to Sky Blue Fans TV. I've got no idea if that worked. I hope it did. But yes, we are back live, and of course it's a Thursday night. It's not often we get to do one of these shows straight after a match, which is something we're going to try and do next season. And I'm going to bring everybody in straight away. We've got Jack, of course. Good evening, Jack.
Good evening, everybody.
It's good to see you, mate. And Victoria, she's with us.
Evening.
Evening, Vicky. Was that clear, was it? I don't know if anybody could hear that, actually. And, of course, hopefully, we got a newbie, Mark Rainbow. Evening, Mark. Can you hear us, Mark? And you still can't hear us for some reason. There's a lot of rustling there. I don't know what's going on. Right. I'll tell you what, we're going to go straight into the show. Yeah, I know. It's just great, isn't it? Technology and all the rest of it. First of all, we're going to start with our guest, the gate winner, which, of course, was Gavin Collins. And I believe I've got a little bit of, I've got your little picture up here. Here it goes. They are. Winner, Gavin Collins. You're the nearest. Look at that. I reckon you were counting them in, Gavin. Well, doesn't that be a mug coming your way? And I suppose, what can you say? Because we desperately needed 3 points last night. However you look at it, we had to get a win. And eventually we got there, didn't we, Vicky and Jack? It was a bit of a turmoil, wasn't it, really? So we're looking at the starting lineup. We'd got sort of wind that Collins looked like he was going to be starting. That was a sort of big rumour a couple of days ago, actually, that he wasn't going to lose his place. So starting with you, Vicky, Collins kept his place, Torp in for Allen. Any surprises for you?
Not really, because I mean we'd pretty much expected that Collins would, like that Lampard would keep faith with Collins, and we'd spoken about the advantage of playing Torp at home, hadn't we, on Sunday? So it wasn't a great surprise. It was one of the options open, and actually I thought Torp started really well. It was a real shame that he had to get stretchered off after what was sort of positive. I was there thinking we recommended this, and it's going well.
Yeah, well. What about you, Jack? Sorry, Vicky.
Sorry, it went.
Collins starting, Torp for Allen?
Yeah, not surprised either, to be honest. I am slightly surprised Efron started. I didn't expect him not to start, but I did think he's had a few tough games, the last couple of games. He hasn't really showed us what he did before his injury. The goals and assists have dried up a little bit for him, and beating players has been a bit of a struggle. I know we've just played 3 really tough sides, and then had a game yesterday where they just set out to defend, and they did that very well. Hence why I thought we might have seen something different on the left, maybe even Rodoni on the left with Torp in the 10, maybe Patterson on the left from starting. So I'm not surprised that everyone did start, but I thought maybe last night was the time to do something a bit different, and maybe Hull City will be the time to do something different given how the game finished.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Torp would start because I still think he's a better player than Allen. And I just thought against a team like Portsmouth, who, as we know, they've averaged 2.25 goals a game away from home. They've only won 2, I think, away from home as well. You'd think we'd be on the front foot and have a real good go at them, but we didn't, did we, Vicky? It was a bit of a slow start, I thought, and quite nervy start. And we never really got going, I didn't think, in that first half. It took a while.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was a nervy start. And then I think this is, for me, that's what happened then. We just seem to be starting to warm up into the game. And I'm starting to think, this is looking quite promising now. And then Torp gets injured, goes off. And then I think it took us until into the second half really to seem to pick ourselves up again from that. So if Torp had said, maybe the whole game would have panned out differently, because I think we were warming up for that moment, and I actually thought it looks quite promising. Going to give Portsmouth a good game and hope to get a few goals, help the old goal difference. And I just thought that Torp going off, it just seemed to take a good while for us to work out what we were going to do and just really get back into the game again. For me.
What was your thoughts, Jack, on the first half of the first half, basically?
Yeah, I mean, we looked the better side. I wouldn't say we came out the blocks and we're going to wipe the floor with them, but we started on the front foot. It was a bit like the Sunderland game. It took us half an hour to get into it. I thought maybe we were building into that similar sort of thing, and then you lose all momentum when you stop playing football for 5 minutes. Even if Torp stayed on the pitch, we'd have lost momentum. And obviously, Sheaf coming back from a bit of an injury, he might not be 100% yet. He was clearly fit enough to make it through 3/4 of a game. But it does just change the entire dynamic of how we're going to play, because Sheaf and Torp are quite different players. So we had to adapt to that. And it did take until the second half, from the looks of things, for us to actually get into the game as we wanted to.
I'll see if Mark's in the background. We'll see if he can hear us now. Shall we get him on? Evening, Mark. Can you hear us, Mark? It's still struggling to hear us. It's really strange, isn't it? What can you do with technology nowadays, apart from all be in the same room? Maybe that's what we need to do looking forward. All be sat in the same room. I think it would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, so the interesting thing, he got injured after 22 minutes. That half was so slow, I thought. It felt like it was a lot later than the 22nd minute to me. I just thought we struggled to get to grips with things. They looked quite lively. And we were looking at each other in the group of friends I was with, and we were sort of saying it felt like we were the away team and they were the home team. They looked like, it's almost like they believed they could get a win there, and then that's them safe for the season. That's how I felt, Vicky, that first half.
Yeah, I suppose... I guess they've already got a result against us this season, so I don't know if that helped them thinking, well, we know how to do a job on them. I thought they came, considering that they have won so little away from home, I thought they looked much more positive than I was expecting. Really. I thought they'd be much more reserved, and they really gave it a bit of a go in the first half, didn't they? I think in the second half, they started to hold on for their point, but in the first half, they were definitely giving us a game. And I wonder whether maybe some of the players hadn't expected that, and that was part of the nerves early on, because they had a couple of chances early on, didn't they? That yep. could have fallen a bit differently, and whether that just gave us a bit of a worry, and then just took a bit of time to warm up from there. Really,
I'm determined to get Mark on. All right, I'm going to unmute him. Can you hear us, Mark? Still struggling? That's so annoying.
Sign language.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? Like, 1 minute's working, then the next minute's not. So obviously, Sheaf, come on, Jack. Is that a beer you're opening?
No.
Oh, product placement. It's a bit like James Bond movie, wasn't it? Then
it's just a can of cola, unbranded.
yeah, that's it. Oh, we're gonna get done for that now, aren't we? So Sheaf comes on. I don't know. I'm not sure about Sheaf and Grimes together. At the minute, I'm having issues with Grimes. Not that he's playing badly, because he's not, because he's controlling the pace of the game. Is it because we've got two centre halves that aren't that comfortable playing the ball out, that Grimes is having to sit that far back and take the ball off them? Because I just feel he should be 10 yards further forward.
Yeah, maybe. And maybe that's what Sheaf would prefer. Maybe Sheaf would prefer if Grimes was where Sheaf is, and then Sheaf could be 10 yards further up the pitch again, bridging the gap between Rodoni and Hadji as well. So I get so far, people say Sheaf and Grimes don't work together. It is early days. Sheaf has been injured for most of the times while Grimes has been here. Trust the process. We'll see what happens. Current showing, yes, it doesn't look like it has worked. But again, as Claudio says, Grimes keeps dropping very deep. And as fine as that is, the dynamic doesn't seem to be ideal for getting the ball forwards. So if Grimes was 5 to 10 yards further forwards, Sheaf could be 5 to 10 yards further forwards. And that links everyone up with Rodoni easier. And then even to Hadji, because a lot of the time we were going, balls over the top to Hadji, and it wasn't really working early on. So you bridge the gaps in midfield, maybe that will work better. I don't know. And that's obviously what having Torp on the pitch to start the game was attempting to do, and it just didn't seem to be using that from when Sheaf came on.
What do you think, Vicky, with Sheaf and Grimes? How's it going to work?
I think Jack's hit the nail on the head, hasn't he? They haven't had a lot of time together. They are relatively similar players, but I think that they've got the ability to do different roles within the team. But they're obviously going to have to get used to playing alongside each other. I also think what's strange about Grimes dropping so far back is that under Lampard, I think Bobby Thomas has really grown into sort of coming out with the ball from defence. And I know he doesn't always get it right, and sometimes he might make a mistake, but him and Kitchen are much more comfortable sort of spraying balls about. And Thomas especially seems quite happy to come at least to the halfway line. So I don't really understand why Grimes needs to be that far back. Because you could have Bobby bringing the ball forward a bit, then they're not after Grimes sort of more around the centre circle, and then he's got like the attacking half to play into. Whereas at the moment, he's just so far back all the time. I don't really understand it. It doesn't feel like there's a need for it either. So it's a strange one.
It's almost like he's playing as a libero, the old-fashioned Italian sweeper at times.
Yeah.
And I just wish he didn't have to. I just think we could push him a bit further forward, but he obviously wants to take that responsibility of taking the ball off them, because there was a stage where in that first half where Kitchen and Thomas and Grimes were just doing little passes in our own half and wanted to get the ball moving quicker. I think that's what the problem was, and you could sense that frustration amongst the crowd as well. Now, surely, is Mark with us now?
I hope so. I really, really hope.
Here he is.
I've just spent 5 minutes just listening to Jack and nothing else.
Oh, right. Well, there's worse things, I suppose. So we're discussing the starting lineup, and there we go. We're discussing the starting lineup, and we said, obviously Collins kept his place, and Torp came in Fallon. Was that? Was it a surprise to you or not?
No, not necessarily, because I think, especially you think about the teams we've just played, we're going to have to be a little bit cuter, but with teams that we could perhaps unpick in slightly different ways. Torp's got that extra touch, the extra vision, so you can see the value he adds going forwards. Maybe not so much going back. So maybe the gamble was that as a collective three, and there's more responsibility on Grimes. But you've got to weigh that up, haven't you? Going forward or going back, and we need the points, so it's going forwards.
Yeah. Did you did you obviously think Sheaf was going to come on? Was that the obvious change for you then?
Well, I think the target is to actually have a midfield three of Grimes, Sheaf, and Rodoni anyway. I think that's what Frank's got in his head. There's some things he said in the past. He really likes Ben Sheaf and what he can offer. And I think that because think about especially since Grimes here, Sheaf's barely been fit, has he? So I think that's kind of the target, because I think he wants to play two fairly deep midfielders and let Rodoni sort of do what Rodoni does.
Yeah. Mark, have you got ear pods or anything you can stick in?
I have. Back in a minute.
I'll just mute Mark. We'll get this sorted, won't we, once and for all? Shall I go to comments quickly? All right. Let's go to comments. Obviously, everybody, like and subscribe, please. Keep liking away. Tell your friends and everybody else, anybody you know, even people you don't know. It doesn't matter who, really. Just stop people in the streets. In fact, just do that as well. Oh, here you go. Someone's done it for me. Thank you very much, whoever's pressed that. So Brian Tully says in Coventry, well, Claudio, what can I say? That has been said. Limbs, scenes, batches, haha, but all very, very true. What a finish and strike, and what a finish to the game. Steve Curry, he won us the match. He won us the match. Jamie Matterson, I think you mean Patterson, obviously. He won us the match. That's where we get our steal from, is Matterson's. Doug Boland, the best yellow card I've seen at the CBS. I'll just unmute Mark now. We're just going through the comments, Mark. The kind of moment that makes you believe, says Rich T. Paul Cuttiford is poor happy. What a goal, but it takes too long to commit to aggression. By the time we get the ball forward, the opposition are camped in place. A bigger pool of players is needed from 3 years back. The classic thing I said, I'll mention what I said in the second half. It was, and realms of possibility. What a moment will be part of our history forever. Jane Gallantly, what an assist from Rudy. Skyby. Oh, technical issues, I believe. Wayne Ghost, crazy scenes at the CBS yet again. Can't believe some people still leave early. Well, some people have to. It's just the way it is. Lee Dan, he calls it a batch. He calls it a batch. Jamie Patterson, he calls it a batch. Come on. Great result, says Phil Bevan. And an incredible goal. Not sure we're seeing the best of Grimes at the moment. Underperforming. I mean, Jack, do you think he's underperforming, or do you just think it's the role he's playing? That's his role, isn't it, I suppose?
I don't think he's underperforming. I don't think we're necessarily playing to the perfect strengths that he's shown over the last sort of 10 years. I remember, the game we drew 3-3 against Swansea a couple of years ago, just before Christmas, and being 3-0 up, we camped back. And I remember him just being on almost the edge of our penalty area and just dinking balls to either wing, dinking them over the defence, and thinking we've got to work out a way to stop that. Now, that's not the Matt Grimes we've seen so far. He's been deep, like we keep saying. We need to find a way to get Grimes, not necessarily in the final third, but be able to play a little pass into the final third. That's where his strengths can really be used with us, I think.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I don't know if, I know, Mark, you do watch the shows, and I think we've said for a long time that we needed an enforcer to be playing in a deep midfield role. But that's not what Matty Grimes is about, is he, at all? So we haven't really got that enforcer, have we?
No, but in a way, have we actually missed that enforcer since he's been here? I mean, we can all see what he does. He's that pivot, he's that control point. But there isn't that Lloyd McGrath, really. That's the sort of person we're looking for, isn't it? Just to be that stopper. And but those sort of players don't really exist a lot anymore, do they?
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I suppose I'm thinking of the Kante type player, but they could also play a bit as well, can't they? They're not just hard tacklers. They can actually play football. So, I mean, and let's face it, if they come along, they're not going to come to Coventry City, are they? They'll be picked up by a Premier League club.
No,
for millions.
And otherwise you start looking further down the leagues, and then you have to sort of question, are they up to Championship? Because we're aiming for not just Championship, we're aiming for higher Championship and then ultimately Premier League. So it's also how you blend that side, isn't it? Because you can see how that everything works as units. So the defensive unit, okay, we've got one, I suppose, and then the midfield, and you can see how each individual player, when they combine, just has that something different, and I think some of it is part of us getting used to having a squad, not starting 11.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
That's a good point. Ryan Matthew J say, with all these late goals, there's never give up attitude. Winning even when we aren't anywhere near our best. I'm absolutely convinced we're making playoffs. That goal last night was huge. Oh, we'll talk about the second half a bit later on, but the noise was massive. Really loud. Paul Stratton, I think it's meant to be this season. We keep getting out of jail in the last minutes. Massive 3 points, even though we're not at our, I think, best. Delighted for Jamie Patterson. Although, according to Clive Eakin, I was driving home and I thought I did a replay of the Sound of the Sky Blues. I'm driving home and he said it's Milan van Ivac. I thought, how can you mistake somebody who's mixed race with curly hair with a white guy with black hair? Unbelievable. And why would he be over that side of the pitch anyway? Unbelievable. Oh dear. Yes. How long is it going to be till someone does something about the appalling refs in this country? EFL need to put most of them on the park pitches. Now, Vicky, unfortunately, you couldn't make it because of whatever reason, and you weren't able to get there in the end last night. So you're watching it on the telly and probably seeing things a lot clearer than what we're seeing it. Now, we're in the stand and I'm 50 yards away, and that's definitely a handball any day of the week. And there's lots of other instances across the pitch that the referee just never gave the right decision. I mean, watch it on the telly. It must have been infuriating.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how he had a good view of that as well. The handball. It wasn't like he was poorly sighted. So I've just no idea how he couldn't see that was a handball. I mean, the bloke's got his hands head high away from his body and actually moving out as well. He wasn't even like trying to bring them back in. He was actually getting further away, and the ball hits it. And I don't know how that is not a penalty. And actually, just talking about the referee, I don't know if anyone can answer this, because in the second half, just talking about him being generally rubbish the whole game, but in the second half, the ball hit it. We're attacking, and the ball comes out and it hits him, and then he gives that to their goalkeeper. Now, I always thought, unless the rules change, because they're always changing rules, and I maybe I've lost track, but I always thought that it hits the referee, it's a drop ball where it hit him. So why did that get given to their goalkeeper for like a goal kick? Does anyone know? Was he wrong?
Yeah. I think, Jack, can you remember what was put in our chat?
Yeah, I actually answered this one to a few friends this morning. So there are different rules to if the ref stops play and gives a drop ball to whether the ball hits the ref. They're two completely separate things, and the ref has to deal with them differently. If the ref stops the game for any reason on his own accord, the ref will drop the ball to either a contested drop ball or drop it to whoever's in space, given the game situation in that moment when he stops it. If the ball strikes the referee under any circumstances, the game stops. If the ball is in either of the final thirds, it's given to the goalkeeper. Doesn't matter who's on the attack, defence, doesn't matter what the situation is, it's given to the goalkeeper. If it's in the middle third, I'll be honest, I don't actually know because I don't think it's happened. But anyone that went to Elland Road, we actually benefited from this. The ball hit the referee. I think it was at 0-0. And he chucks the ball straight at Ben Wilson, and we all cheered. And the Leeds fans got very wound up. So we've now been on the receiving end of that. I think we have actually been on the receiving end of that earlier in the season as well. It may have even been in the same Leeds game, but it has happened against us before. But I'm pretty sure it was away from home, not at home. So potentially less people have seen that. But that is the unfortunate rule. However, it's supposed to be consistent, right? So it's gone in our favour against Leeds, and it went against our favour yesterday.
What I find strange, Mark, is that there's an injury to Torp in the first half, which clearly was longer than 3 minutes that Victor was on the floor. Apart from everything else that happened in the game, and yet we only had 3 minutes of added time. It should have been at least 5 or 6 in the first half.
Well, that baffled us as well, because for exactly the same reason. It must have taken him 3 minutes to get him on the stretcher itself, and then whatever time it took for the medical staff to say no, you need to go off the stretcher anyway. So, yeah, I think 5 minutes is probably being conservative anyway. It's probably a lot more than that. I mean, I've just watched it again downstairs, and he's down for a long time. Yeah, and plus all the other delays and and just faffing around. Certainly a lot more than 3 or 4 minutes. So yeah, we were just as baffled.
It's frightening that he's on section 2 of the Premier League referees. So he does a lot of fourth officiating and other bits and bobs. I'm not sure how many games he actually referees, but he's on the list. He's on the short list. I mean, that is frightening. Absolutely. And we've said now, I think, because they're getting used to not, especially in the Premier League with VAR, it's almost like they don't need to make decisions anymore, I think. And it's almost like lazy refereeing, isn't it? I've missed that. Like the handball, that would have been a penalty in the Premier League. They'd have called him to have a look. But the fact that with that handball, he's stood 5 yards away, he's looking at it, which is astonishing.
We were in block 19, and the same as you there, Claudio. It's the view was blatant. You can't say his hand was in a natural position because it looked like from where we were, he was actually physically trying to stop it. So,
I mean, going back to the first half before we move on to the second half, obviously, were we too negative, or did Portsmouth outwit us? Vicky, what do you think? And what were they saying on telly actually? Because I've not watched the whole thing again. Actually, what were their views?
Sky thought that Portsmouth had a much better first half. They thought. I mean, I thought it was more equal than they thought. They were sort of praising Portsmouth a lot, and I thought they were a bit over the top about that. But they were all for Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth probably came and took the game to us a bit more than we probably expected, and that seemed to take us a bit of time to get our heads around. And then with the Torp injury, like we said earlier, I just think a couple of things probably happened that just threw us off our stride in that first half. But I think also that just like Lampard's about getting results, isn't it? And I think that sometimes we'll have games where we'll be taking it. There's obviously a plan, and we might not always. I mean, it's like the thing with Grimes that we think he's playing too deep, and I think that to a degree that's because we've all seen him play for other teams and what he can do, what we've seen him do against us, and that's what we want him to see. Him do to other teams, and so when he's sitting so far back, he's not doing that. But he's obviously been asked to do that by Lampard, so that's part of his current role, and he's obviously doing that role. Well, it's just not the role we expected him to be doing. But it's about getting results, isn't it? And I think that's what we see a lot more. Like in this run of all these wins, there's not been a whole lot of great performances, but there's been a whole lot of getting the job done, and I think that's just a bit more about the way it is at the moment. And so probably just to slightly get used to a slightly different approach to games, I guess.
I don't know what you think, Jack, but I don't think it was a game plan, was it, to sit so deep? I can't imagine they talked about let's be safe for the first half. We're playing at home against Portsmouth.
Yeah, I think we were probably told that or warned that Pompey were going to sit with 11 men behind the ball, and we needed to craft an opening, and it just was we were too slow. It was like that everyone was looking for that opening, but there was nothing happening to try and make that. And I know Vicky said she thought the half was even. I thought it was pretty even as well. I can remember them having maybe 2 or 3 chances. One obviously at the underside of the crossbar. One was hit straight at Collins. We had the Rodoni double chance that he ended up heading just wide. We had Hadji skip down sort of the left-hand side and hit it straight at the keeper, a bit like one of their chances. And we had a penalty claim. So although they might have looked more dangerous on a counter, we actually had more chances than they did in the first half. So if you want to call that evens, that's fine. I'm not arguing who won or lost the first half. It didn't matter, did it? Because we got the points in the end. But yeah, it seemed even-ish. We had a lot more of the ball, but they looked a lot more dangerous when they had it. Yeah,
I mean, the first half, Mark, Rodoni had 2 chances in the same move, didn't he? Where he had the shot, which was a bit limp. I don't know why he didn't hit it with his other foot. And then, of course, the header.
I mean, that was the point that Clinton Morrison made. I think was it Tim Sherwood made about the first chance, was that you're left-footed, swing your left foot at it instead of letting it come across his body and try with his right foot, which gave the defence a chance to block it. But that header, I mean, the header doesn't give the cross the credit it deserves. That was a fantastic cross from Van Ewijk.
Yeah.
And from using the outside of his foot, it was absolutely on the button, wasn't it? And
Well,
the other thing as well in that was that Rodoni took a massive clang on the head off, was it Paul that was defending it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it was another brave header. This is a guy who put his shoulder out the other week and he's wanting it. Out of all the players this season, especially midfield, he's the one, I think, Vicky, every time he plays, just puts in a good performance. Oh, could you hear me, Vicky?
Oh, no, sorry, it cut out then. I'm sorry, I didn't know you was...
I just know about Rudy's performances. How,
sorry, yeah.
Every time he puts a shirt on.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brilliant, hasn't it? I mean, we've spoken lots of times about like player of the season, really. And I thought, I mean, there was a couple of challenges yesterday that make you wince a bit because you're just thinking, oh, his shoulder, I hope he's going to be okay and pick up. But he's showing bravery because he gets himself in there. And there's some other players that could learn a bit from that, I think, because there's a couple that duck out occasionally when they could be a bit braver. But yeah, he's another performers, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack. So we got with Jack Rodoni. I'm getting confused with you being Jack as well.
It's a good name. It's a good name.
Yeah, well, he's nailed on to start, isn't he? Now, as long as he keeps fit, him and Grimes, and I suppose now Sheaf starts, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to answer that one because we've had our well over the last sort of few weeks. And even had a good run of form at the start of the year, calendar year. So maybe he is a fitter option is a better choice. But away from home, maybe we do go with Sheaf and Grimes and be that little bit more negative if we like. Maybe that's the way to go. But yeah, Rodoni, player of the season, nailed on. First name on the team sheet for sure.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. Well, especially at the minute. Only five games to go. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Gibbo says the togetherness from head coach, coaching staff, players and fans. Wow. Those are some scenes to behold at the end. Steve Price, frustrated night, and then what a finish. He's one of our own, so pleased for Patterson. He's absolutely over the moon. There's not a lot of him, is there, really? He's quite a slight sort of figure. I'm sure he looked massive when he used to wear shirts against us, but I don't know, he looks quite small. It's probably been all our dreams to score a winning goal for our team. What a feeling that must be. It's right, James Holyoke. Unbelievable. It's pure Roy of the Rovers stuff, isn't it? I mean, yeah, last second minute winner. Sanjeet Choker, very happy for Patterson. Hopefully the clean sheets give Collins a bit of confidence going forwards. Weren't we all nervous the first time somebody put the ball back to him? And also, was it the second half where somebody headed the ball back? And we thought, why didn't they just do that on Saturday? And he just picked it up. Just so simple, really. Ian Courts, hi guys. Do you think we are stumbling into the playoffs? Should we go to 4-4-2 formation? Grimes seems to be playing too deep for me. He must be told to do that. I mean, you wouldn't do that by choice, I don't think. Because he's able to, but maybe he just wants to be in control at the back, and the two lads, or it does allow the two central defenders to push out wider, and then they can move the ball around. We almost go into a 5, don't we? All three at the back, basically. And I suppose it worked. We kept a clean sheet. Pleased for Collins for the clean sheet, even though he was punching thin air when they hit the bar. He needed that bit of luck. Yeah, that was like the goal at Portsmouth away, wasn't it, when he came out? Probably desperate to make amends. Peter Doolan, good evening, guys. That's the way to finish a game. What a strike. Glad for Jamie. He's been patient and waiting for his chance. Maybe he'll get more games time now, hopefully. Wayne Brewerton, Portsmouth came for a point. It was similar to the Millwall home game, but we got the 3 points. Great subs by Lampard and a great goal by the Cov kid. Brian Tully reckons I've got a different shade of lipstick on tonight. I've got no idea why my lips are that red. It's bizarre, isn't it? I don't know what's going on with this filter. I've got a filter actually. It's just the camera, I think. Anyway, Wayne Littlewood. Hi all. It was a disappointing first half, and Pompey was unlucky. Grimes is our new centre back. Pompey played well and had some good chances. Second half was a lot better. I think we said 2 or 3 games ago that I think most of the games are going to be like this now. What do you reckon, Mark? With the last 5 games, I can't see teams battering anybody, really. The ones who are playing for something, they're going to be too tight, aren't they?
Exactly. I mean, you look at what we've got coming up. You'd say Luton second bottom should be an easy game, but they're fighting for their life. Hull on Monday, again, they're not clear of the relegation zone, and they're tied with second bottom on points, aren't they? Something like that. So they're really desperate for the points, and you go down each one of those 5 games we've got left. Everyone has got something to play for, and then not forgetting West Brom and Middlesbrough.
Yeah. So we have, I'm going to read some more comments here. Doug Bolam says, sadly, it's been reported in the press that there has been several structural engineers spotted at the CBS today. Apparently they are still trying to work out how to refit the roof after last night. Very clever. Rob Murray, yes, we should have had a penalty in the first half. And Wayne Little says, Sheaf and Grimes do not work together. The gaps in midfield at times were horrendous. A better team would have ripped us apart. Can anyone explain why Grimes is playing at the back? Steve Price, I thought Patterson had too long to think about the volley. I was expecting Rose Ed, but what a finish. Patterson showed fantastic composure and class. Absolutely brilliant. Wayne says that Pompey was really impressed with Pompey. Didn't look like a team struggling for relegation. Say what you want about Collins, but his ball playing ability is quality, and what a pass. Hopefully his confidence is restored, says Gary. We're looking at the second half. It was one of those funny ones because at 46 seconds I looked at the clock into the second half thinking we got past that stage after what happened on Saturday, and we definitely upped the tempo slightly, and I don't know whether or not Portsmouth were thinking, let's just try and keep what we've got already. But they definitely went deeper and deeper. And I don't know what you thought, Vicky. They just made it very difficult for us to get through them, didn't they?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in the first half, it was a bit like they were giving it a bit of a go to see if they could get the 3 points. I think in the second half, it felt very much like they were thinking, we want to get at least a point here. And they went deep and solid and basically were saying you're going to have to play through us and find a way to break us down. And I mean, some of their defenders put in, I mean, there was some really fair play to some of their defenders who really put their bodies on the line to try and keep that clean sheet. I mean, you could imagine how good they must have been at the end when we're all like ecstatic. And that's definitely the second half seemed to be the game plan for them to get a point. And luckily for us, it came unstuck.
Well, I don't know what you thought, Jack. I thought that Ogilvie at the back for them was so solid. And I don't think Wright got any change out of him whatsoever. In fact, I thought Wright at times just wasn't even moving enough to trouble their defenders. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, me and Midad talked about this. We sort of, when we saw Sims coming on, we're saying, oh, is that going to be for Hadji? Because Hadji didn't necessarily do anything wrong, but he didn't do anything at all, really. He wasn't involved in the game. Some of that is to do with him and his movement, like you say, with the centre half holding him down. And some of that is to do with we couldn't get the ball to him successfully because of A, because we weren't on it, and B, because they'd put 10 men behind the ball. So that was difficult. And then he eventually went off. We changed shape, and did it help us? Well, we got a goal, so yeah, it worked, didn't it? But yeah, the Portsmouth defence were solid, to be honest. They came to do a job. That job was to keep a clean sheet, and they, as the clock ticked to 90 minutes, they'd done the job. It reminded me very much of the Millwall game, that we weren't exactly on it. They didn't do much to trouble us, but they came for a point and they came for a clean sheet, and they very, very nearly got that. And I think the Coventry of maybe Christmas time would have just gone down 0-0 without a sniff at goal, but the Coventry of now, we've found a way to get these late goals, and just somehow it's different every time. It's not the specific type of attack works. We just manage to get the goal, and this is the exact sort of thing you get from teams that get promoted, or at least get the playoffs.
Exactly. And after 73 minutes, then Mark Sakamoto came on. Came off. Sorry, for Ellis Sims. Did that surprise you? Because I think most people thought, I think he said it was going to be a like-for-like substitution, maybe. But he sort of changed the formation around a bit, didn't he, at that point?
Yes, he went to a 4-4-2. I was surprised, and because something needed to change, but I couldn't tell you what. And I think he likes Sakamoto because he seems to be a bit of a clutch player, and that he can pull moves out at the last minute. So I was slightly surprised. So he's got to make a gamble, I guess, hasn't he? He can see the game was just going to peter out otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Vicky. Sims obviously came on with Wright, but didn't really. Well, nothing really happened, did it? Really, I actually thought Ellis put himself about a bit, and it's almost like with 5 minutes to go, Frank got a bit fed up with Hadji Wright and just took him off. I thought, at some point you're going to have to move.
Well, yeah. And I suppose by sending Bassett on, he's saying, "Well, look who's here waiting to take your position. If you're not running around enough, because we've got someone that will." I think the advantage when substitutions were made, that the gap between sort of defence to attack got smaller, because when we were doing well, we spoke, didn't we, about how many players were getting into the box and when we were attacking, and what we've been guilty of when we're being a bit slow is that Wright is very isolated and there's not really anyone near him. But when with Sims and then Bassett and Patterson on, like when we obviously went on to score the goal, there's like 5 people in that, including Bobby Thomas, who's like up there, like attacking, and so it just seemed to drag everyone that further up the pitch. So that seemed to help.
I just think with a lone striker, you need more movement, don't you, Jack? I just feel he doesn't do enough off the ball. And he's done the typical Hadji Wright thing where he had a great game against Sunderland after he woke up after 10 minutes. And then it's almost like he's living off that hat-trick now for the following 3 matches. And we need more out of your lone striker.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Portsmouth defence did give him a hard time. They stuck to him like glue. The Sunderland defence didn't do that. They let him drift into space. But yeah, like I say, Portsmouth didn't do that. So Hadji just needs to learn, I think. It might be just a bit of naivety that because one team have given him free rein to run through the gaps, not every team's going to do that. And if Sunderland were going to be a top 3 team, they wouldn't have done that. And they may be closer to the top 3 than they are. So teams that are fighting for their life and especially go away, they tend to know how to defend, and they did that against Hadji very well. But Hadji does need to be better. He's got the best minutes to goal ratio in the division, I believe. Right. So someone with that stat needs to be doing better, especially in a game against the bottom half club, I think.
I'm going to get back to the comments in a minute. So obviously he took Wright off the set, and then Mason Clark came on for Patterson, which I think surprised a lot of people, because I thought Vicky, I thought that's good while you're having a drink. I think that surprised a lot of people, because I thought Mason Clark was putting a real shift in down that wing. What do you think?
It was weird actually, because he did go into the game, and then because I thought first half, still not quite back to his pre-injury best, is he? But I thought as the game was going on, he was offering something down that side. So, but I guess sometimes you just you need to freshen it up and throw a new challenge on, don't you? Like their fullback most of the time was managing to deal with effort, and so I think that probably just sending someone different on to say. If we get some, it's a new challenge, isn't it? So it just gives the defenders something different to think about, and sometimes that just works because it throws them off their guard. So I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think he was having a bad game, but I think it just was to try and we were basically throwing everything because we needed a goal, didn't we? We needed the 3 points, and it's just about and time's running out, and it's just about trying everything to try and work out how that's going to come about.
And again, they seem to have done their homework in the fact that they doubled up on him and stopped any threat. He got the ball quite often in wide positions in space, ran at defenders, but there were 2 of them there all the time trying to stop him getting the ball across, and that's exactly what they did, and they did it well.
But I was still surprised to see Patterson come on though. That was a strange thing for me. What do you think, Mark? Was he expected to come on? Do you think?
No, I don't think he was. I mean, I think Mason Clark was trying, and like you said, he was just like Tommy said, he didn't get a moment. And the way they were defending him, actually, they were waiting for him to cut back onto his right foot. So the way they were sort of bracketed him when he was attacking, and I guess it must just be that kind of, well, we've got nothing to lose, let's throw him on. I mean, Patterson's come on as a really late sub in the last three home games. Thinking about it, and so maybe it's just a roll of the dice, and it came up as a double six, didn't it?
Yeah, it seems to work. I think Claudio's got a bit of issues with his microphone, so we'll see. We'll see if he can sort that out. But yeah, going on to the goal then, the exciting bit of the game for everyone. I mean, a few games ago, I was sort of whinging on here a few weeks ago that people were leaving games early, and that seems to have stopped recently, and I wonder why. You know, we score a late goal against QPR at home, we do it the following week or the same week against Stoke, and we've done it again. So the roof, not that there is one, came off the place last night. It was very, very loud. I mean, Vicky, what was it like on TV?
That was amazing. I was so gutted not to be there, because that's the sort of moments you live for, isn't it? Really. So yeah, but yeah, it really got capped, because it doesn't always. Sometimes it's annoying, isn't it? Like sometimes I've been at a game and then I'll go home and we watch it again, and you think that didn't really capture how that sounded when we were there. But last night I thought they did. You could really get the sort of vibe of the feel, and I was having a quick look. I was thinking, oh, another late goal, and according to my maths, if I got this right, and you probably could tell me, Jack, because obviously you're the stato, so I believe that since we came back to the CBS and we obviously scored in the 90-plus minute in that game against Nottingham Forest to win that game, that this is now our 27th 90-plus minute goal that's got us points, either a draw or a win, since then. So since August 2021, we've now got 27 90-plus minute goals, and there's a couple more where we've scored and not got anything, so I didn't count those. So actually we're probably hitting 30, but a couple of those goals didn't count for any points, so I didn't count them. But like you said, it just shows that we're here for 90-plus minutes, and if you leave early you might miss anything exciting, because we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Bramall Lane the other week, we scored a goal in the 90-plus whatever, and it meant nothing. There was one in the playoff season against Huddersfield. We scored
so I didn't count those.
2-0 down. So, Mark, you say you're in block 19, was it? What was the sound like there?
It was the sound of 25,000 people releasing tension into the aces. It was a phenomenal feeling. The sound, it was really intense, and you could see the impact it had on the Portsmouth players, because all to a man just dropped to their knees, didn't they? But yeah, it was. There were people leaving the sun near us. He left a good 3 or 4 minutes before that. So there were people that are leaving, and you just wonder, as they were walking across the car park, what they were thinking. But no, Sky had a stat saying that we've won 12 points with goals after 90 minutes.
It's a season, isn't it? Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame, isn't it, Mark? Because some people leave early because, I don't know, it's like a school night, so they've got kids to get home. I saw on Facebook one lady was saying that her 81-year-old dad likes to leave early because he's worried about the crowds, which I actually thought was a bit sad, because I thought, surely as a fan base we should be better, and that we shouldn't be making the elderly fans feel like they can't get out safely if they stay to the end. So I thought it was a bit sad, but people do have different reasons. And so it's sad that some of them miss the exciting moments. I always just have a slight shocker for those that just give up and I've got no faith and walk out. I have a slight shocker for those ones.
Yeah, like you say, if people are leaving for a reason, like they want to get an early night, the kids have got to go to school in the morning, or people are up early working, then you understand it. But for people to get to 85, 87 minutes and just go, I've had enough of this, and walk out, it's idiotic now. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different outcome. And we just keep scoring. So I don't know what these people expect, but all I can say is stay till the end next time, basically.
Yeah, we stopped at a lap of honour just in case we missed something.
Yeah, me too.
I always stay to the final whistle, and if we win, I always stay for the Milan celebration at least. Depends on the game. Depends on a night game. I tend to watch that and go because we all want to get to bed, don't we?
Yeah.
But what about the actual goal then? So a long ball over the top. It doesn't seem to be working much all night, and this one seems to miss the top of the defender's head. Rudy's there to pick up the ball, get into the box, and you're thinking, just do something. He puts the ball behind Jamie Patterson. Are we all expecting that? Are we expecting him to swivel and hit the far corner? Or, that's a fantastic finish, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, is that the sort of goal he scored against us in the past? Perhaps. But where we were looking right down the barrel of that, and it just seemed like it was almost like an instinctive reaction from Jamie, the way he just sort of basically swung his foot. Well, that's not giving you credit. Can't just say he swung his foot at it. He saw it there. There was only one way that he was going to be able to actually connect with that ball, and not only did he connect with a fantastic volley from a fantastic pass, but the shape on the ball actually to get into the goal because there was a curve on that. So just tucked it in nicely. I mean, if you break the build-up, I mean, all night Collins had been going long with pretty much every goal kick was a long ball, and he wasn't scared to launch it forward. So, it was a hit and hope. But the other thing that if you're watching the build-up, it was the way that Bobby didn't go for the header. And I think that had an impact on the defenders. They were expecting him to do that, and I think that helped the ball, basically go over their heads and right into Rudy's foot. So,
yeah, I mean, Bobby might have seen Rudy sort of running past him and thought, "I'm just going to leave this one and hope it goes through," and it worked. I mean, Vicky, Patterson tried the similar sort of shot a few minutes before, didn't he? If you remember, and got nowhere with it. So to try the exact same thing 2-3 minutes later, but get it so right, and then in front of Singer's corner, and all he does is turn around and take his top off. And that must have been the best feeling ever. He's 33, I believe. It's the first time he's played for us or scored for us. And just to do it right in front of Singer's corner and celebrate with the fans, that must have been phenomenal for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what made it even more special. I mean, it's one of those things, it's one of those moments, isn't it? Like, you want to win a game, it's got to like 90+ minutes, and then who turns up and swings in and a decent goal, not some sort of scruffy goal, like a decent goal by a Coventry player, like a Coventry-born player. I mean, like, that's just what dreams are made of. And they're the sorts of moments that actually don't make you think, like, I think this is on, because it's a bit like when Wilson scored against Blackburn. Just certain things happen in a season, and you just think that's a bit special. And it's a bit different. And like for him, I mean, it must just be like dreams come true. Like you used to be up there watching Coventry players of the past score goals, and now you're that player right in front of Singer's corner in 90+ minutes to win a game of football. I mean, I think all of us could pretty much dream of being like that person in that moment in time, couldn't we?
Yeah, I think it gave us the vibes of Ben Wilson putting the ball in against Blackburn. The difference being that gained us a point, this one gained us 2. So in theory, it was more crucial. But yeah, you've summed it up fantastic there. Right, we'll see if Claudio's audio's sorted itself out. What did you make of the goal, Claudio, up where you were sat in the gods?
Am I clapping? Or does that sound all right?
Oh, no, that's better.
I'm all right now, I think.
I don't know what's going on. It was, just a thing of beauty. Before they came on, I turned around to, I think it was Luke, and I said, look at the state of our bench. Who's going to come on and make a difference tonight? I just thought there's nothing on there on the bench that's going to change this game. I couldn't see it. I was feeling a bit deflated. 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, 5 minutes to go. I'm thinking, we're just not going to break them down, are we? And then what was bizarre was that the guy, their centre-half, hadn't missed the ball all game. Bobby Thomas goes up there and just causes a bit of chaos and just sort of is in and around him. He completely misses the ball. And what Rodoni did was fantastic, because I actually thought at first, just hit it, man, just have a shot, and then he just picked out Patterson. I mean, they say he shinned it. I don't care. The technique's fantastic. To be honest, if he'd have hit it with his foot, it probably would have gone over the stadium. If anything, I think the fact he hit his sort of low down on his shin, top of the boot, it's just beautiful, wasn't it? And the views, it doesn't matter where you see the goal from, the views are fantastic, aren't they? They just look great. In fact, I don't know have you played the goals yet? I'll put them on.
No, I didn't realize we got them.
Yeah, I've got them on. Here we go. Now they can hear me. Honestly, I think it's this. I've been doing lots of stuff all day on this thing, and I think it's probably overheated, and that's why it's crackling. But I'll tell you what, we'll get them on, shall we? In fact, you all sound better now. Right, here we go then. This is video number 1. Well, there we have. I think that's courtesy of Ken. Do you see Rob Gurney getting up and fist in the air and everything else? And this is from, I think, Lee Burrows. I'll just check that. He sent me this last night. So hopefully this is from behind the goal. And they said our fans behind the goal wouldn't work. I think it's added to the atmosphere. It took a few games, didn't it, Vicky? But we definitely added to the atmosphere. Am I really loud and clear now? It sounds.
Yeah, I can actually hear you now.
Some people say that's not a bad thing if you can't hear me. But I think it's made a big difference behind that goal.
I think it's much better. I also thought it was a bit of a weird issue anyway, because most of the time the away fans and that Singers Corner weren't joined up. I mean, most of the time it's all started at the other side and then worked across if it's full. So most of the time that was a gap. I didn't really understand why people were getting so worked up about us putting our own fans there. But and I think, like you said, it's made a massive difference. It just spreads the atmosphere even further around now. And I think, like you said, it just took a few people to get used to it. But for me, it's much better.
Now, Mark, they gave man of the match to Jamie Patterson for his 9-minute display in goal. Had he not come on, who would you have given man of the match to?
That's a really tough one because I'm not entirely sure. I thought De Silva played well for all the moaning we've had about him recently. I mean, the last couple of games he's been really good. But then you've got Rodoni. I mean, Rodoni, he's the Duracell bunny. He just keeps going and going and going. You know, like we were talking about earlier with the header in the first half. You know, he got such a clang on the forehead from that, but he just got up and he was at it again and again and again, and his persistence got us the goal. So I think, you know, Jack Rodoni for about the 50th time this season, probably.
Yeah, do you agree with that, Jack?
I don't think you can disagree with it. There's no one to me that stands out as they were the star player of this game. Between Rudy and the fullbacks, perhaps, are the only three viable options. To be honest, I think, like we said, Efron and Tats, they tried, but they just got shut down too much by the Pompey defence to warrant anything. So Rodoni is the safe bet if Patterson doesn't score that goal.
Yeah, Vicky, looking at that, Jack just mentioned Milan and De Silva and obviously Mason Clark. It's interesting that we've had the run of games where we picked up loads of wins. I think before Christmas, they weren't bothering with us, were they, a lot of these clubs? And all of a sudden now, Mason Clark and Milan, Tats, another one, when they come forward, they just double up on them, don't they? It's like they've realised where the danger's coming from now. And the pair of them are up against it every week, I think. So,
Silver and
I'll tell you what, we're having some right old game tonight, aren't we? You froze on me.
It's like the whole technological world's just gone crazy, hasn't it? Like computers are freezing, mics are crackling. It's just.
I reckon it's Miles. Miles is playing. He's not on screen, is he, tonight? He's playing silly buggers, isn't he? Him and Ken. It's like candid camera, isn't it? They're going to appear behind me in a minute. They go game for a laugh.
Just to give some stats to the point about doubling up on the wingers. Obviously, we all know we've scored, I think it's 18 headed goals. We're all familiar with that stat that was flying about a couple of weeks ago, which is the most in Europe. I don't know if anyone's caught us up since then because it's gone quiet. But I do know we have put in, before last night's game, we were averaging 5.7 successful crosses per game, which is the highest of any championship team this season. So they did their homework. They defended. That's all they needed to do. They needed to stop crosses and they needed to shut down players like Hadji and try and limit Rudy as much as they can. And like I said earlier, they did it for 90 minutes and just we were that much better than them to get the job done.
Yeah, well, to be honest, Jack, I think the next game, Hull City on Monday, is going to be similar. I think there's not going to be a lot in it. In fact, all the games now, they're probably 1-0 either way or 0-0s. I think they're going to be really, really close. I think now. I can't see us battering anybody before the end of the season. It's going to be just really nervy. I think, like I say, cup finals, aren't they now? You can't afford. I mean, the West Brom game's massive now on Good Friday. Yeah, that's a really, really tough one.
It depends though, because if West Brom lose at the weekend and we beat Hull, it's no longer really a 6-pointer because it puts them out the question. I mean, Millwall are more in the question than them at the moment on form. Maybe we should be worrying about Millwall. They're the only team that have beaten the top 3 teams this season. I don't think any other team have done that outside of the top 3. And they've done it each of the games with a 1-0 wins. They've kept a clean sheet. So to win and keep a clean sheet against the top 3 teams in this division this year is an incredible feat. So maybe we should be worried about Millwall.
Yeah, but we can't lose to West Brom, though. We can't drop any points, really, because of other teams picking up points, probably. So that's the trouble we've got now. It's because you run out of games, don't you, to get the points back. I've got Ken managed to get into the lounges last night. He snuck in again with his press pass. I don't know how he does it, but he gets in there. And we've got the video of sit back, relax, you make yourself a cup of coffee if you want, because it's a nice long one. It's Mr. Patterson being interviewed by Harry Roberts.
Gentlemen, boys, girls, and anybody still up at this time of the night, thank you for your patience. Please put your hands together for Mr. and he's one of ours, Jamie Patterson. You know you've made it with this room. Do you know all these? It's just a family, in fact. Yeah. You went to school with them? Well, they haven't done as well as you, looking at the age of them there over there. Great that you've come up here today and seen the crowd here. The crowd are magnificent, aren't they?
Yeah, well, you know, they've always been great. Away support as well, and obviously, you know, they're selling out most games now at home. The atmosphere makes a big difference, and that's no coincidence. We keep scoring late winners, and that's from the fans getting behind us.
Now, initially, I mentioned beforehand that the game was an important game for both teams, and they're scrapping to stay in the division, and we're trying to get into the playoffs. So, it was always going to be a difficult game, and I thought we edged it when there was a definite penalty shout at the beginning, and I think it's proved on TV. He almost took the laces out of it. You have to be a certain age to know what that means. But yeah, it wasn't given.
Yeah, obviously I haven't seen that back. At the time, it looked like a penalty, and I heard the fans cheering for it. But yeah, I haven't seen that back. But it always feels nicer. Last-minute winners always feel a lot nicer. Sends everyone home feeling that little bit happier. So yeah, we'll take it. It was made to be.
It certainly was made to be. Let's just go back a little bit though. With I'd like to mention Jack Rodoni, because he did a courageous diving header again, and it's not easy when you dislocated your shoulder, and to copy it again, and he stayed down and thought, oh no, it's not the same thing. But when you watch it on slow motion on TV, he took a right whack to the head. But bravery sort of epitomises the game today. But let's go back to the last minute. If we're going to score a goal, you do it in the last minute, and if you want to make it on Sky TV, you score it like you did.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blur, really. Obviously I came on the last couple of. I didn't come on the last couple of games. I've just been waiting for an opportunity, really. And just dreaming of scoring, you always think, I hope it's a last-minute winner, and it isn't just a little tap in from a 3-0 down or something. You want it to sort of go exactly how it did today. But yeah, obviously Rudy's done a skill, dinked it for the back stick, and sort of put it in an area that I can't really kick it any other way. So yeah, thankfully it's hit the back of the net, and I've run over to the corner, and don't know why I took my top off, and it was just a bit yeah.
There's a few people here disappointed you put it back on again. But yeah, such was the importance of it, and such was the joyous nature of everything. The subs came off the bench and crossed over on the pitch over to celebrate.
Yeah, I remember one moment I turned around and F had me like that. Mason Clay had me up on my face, and then Brad Collins was there, and I was thinking, what's going on? Everybody was there, but it just sort of shows, it's a great group of lads, and ever since I've been here, everyone's been positive and backing each other, and to see the subs that have come off the pitch to be running over and celebrating, and some of the lads that haven't even got on the pitch were over there, shows how good the group is and how much we back each other to do well. And at the end of the day, regardless of my situation, it's 3 points, and we're back in that playoff position where we want to be. So hopefully we can win as many games as we can.
What was that?
And he calls it a batch.
And he calls it a match, yes. Is that what the shout is? I couldn't, yeah. I thought he's one of our own. And yeah. Are you inundated for tickets nowadays then? Now that you're back home?
Yeah, as you can imagine. Yeah, but I've just tried to, I get a certain amount of tickets and I'll give them to my family and my close friends and obviously my girlfriend and stuff like that. If I've got spare tickets and somebody asks me, they can have them, but...
Don't say that out loud, like, seriously. They'll be asking you on the way out here.
I don't often get spare tickets, so it'll be a waste of time.
Well, we thank you so much for coming up here today, and we love the celebrations and the joyous nature of it all. Please put your hands together for our match winner. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much.
The one thing that springs to mind there is that Harry Roberts says, "Is that what they were singing?" It's been, the fans have been going on about it since he arrived. Bizarre.
It's quite a loud song as well, from memory.
Yeah.
You clearly hear it.
So, Mark, you've been following the city for how many years?
My first game was the 27th of December 1977, the Norwich game. That was my first game. And it's all been downhill from there, really.
Yeah, that's when my old man, we had the pub in Morwick, and we used to leave a lot of games. If you couldn't get bar staff to cover, we used to leave just a little bit early so we could get out the ground and get back to open the pub. Because, customers expected it to be open at a certain time in those days. And as we walked out the ground, we heard the cheer, faint cheers, and we just thought, oh, what's happened there? And then we completely missed the fact that Jim Blythe had saved that penalty, which would have been 5-5, wouldn't it, had it gone in, which would have been incredible. So not a bad first game.
No, it wasn't. And I don't. You struggle to find anything that lives up to that, don't you? So
yeah. For a first game, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't until the end of the 80s, very end of the 80s and into the 90s that I had a season ticket, and then yeah.
Now, a little bird told me you're involved in the London Olympics, traffic management. So,
yep.
That was a big job, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very odd job. You've never had a job like that. I've never had a job like that before, and I think I've certainly never had one since. And it was such an intense 9 months or so. But yeah, I don't think I've ever spent £94 million before.
That's it. Fantastic. I was invited down for the test event. I think it was around about May the 4th, where they had some sort of student games, I think, in the actual stadium.
They did, yeah. And
we came in at a certain time to see how you manage the crossover of all the people, because obviously for those who went to the Olympics, there was 3 period set times, wasn't there, of all the events and how it was all. So we were coming for the hockey event. It's fantastic. Free tickets to come down and watch England, Germany, Holland. It was brilliant. I loved every minute of it, because the guy who was president of our hockey club, his sister was in charge of all that. So, and I think she ended up going to Dubai and do the Olympics or World Cup as well, and he went out there to help out. But I didn't get an invite for the test event for that one. it was incredible. And I actually thought it was so smooth. The whole, I don't know if anybody went to Olympics, Jack or Vicky, if you went, but the whole thing of checking your bags, everything was really smoothly run. I couldn't believe how great it was. It was really good, I thought.
Well, I know that I won't go into detail, but the test event on the start of May, that didn't go quite to plan, to the point where people suddenly weren't involved in the Olympic Games.
All right.
But but it worked. It obviously worked as a test event, because when it comes to the main thing, there was some lumps and bumps, but it was great watching, being able to sit there in a room with every single event on the telly in front of you. You could pick and choose what you wanted to watch. And I was getting paid to do that as well.
I bet it was. I'm going to go to the comments, I think.
You've got about 1 million of them, Claudio. So
Well,
I do keep glancing at them and try and read them, and if there's any I want to look at for later. But there's just so many tonight.
Lee Tan says, I believe it's time VAR is introduced to the Championship due to appalling decisions of late and the consequences of teams trying to compete. I mean, if anybody saw the Leeds game where there's 2 goals disallowed for offside, absolutely ridiculous. I can't see how they could be possibly given offside. It's just poor. Off of Mercia, how many of us, after the Stoke defeat in August, would have taken 6 on the 10th of April? Would love to see Sims and Pato involved more in the whole game. Andy McCormack, thanks for beating Pompey and not letting them pull away from little old Oxford, even if you did leave it late. Yeah, Andy. I'm glad you see you got more than the 24 points I said you would get. That's for sure. Apparently, it's 200,000 to hardwire VAR in a stadium and 100,000 a year for the license thereafter. What's the point?
What, per club?
It must be, yeah.
I mean, how much money are they making, and then they're doing such an appalling job? I mean, it's just that's scandalous, isn't it?
But why should it? I can't see how it should cost that much. Bizarre. So there's lots of chat about my sound not being particularly great. I'm sorry about that. Lee Lishman, the years go by, but Cov are still just as frustrating as ever. Sides on the poor run or near the bottom, we make them look class, but when you're about to give up hope, we suddenly turn up in the nick of time. Us and probably loads of other clubs are the same, Lee. I can guarantee the fans are all saying the same stuff. I mean, the Baggies must be absolutely the other night. And what a goalkeeping error that was. There was no power in the shot, was there? Unbelievable that was. It was, like
two goalkeeping errors, wasn't there?
Yeah, bizarre. Maybe Frank asked Grimes to sit back to allow our wing backs to bomb forward, says Lee Dan. Gives Grimes extra time on the ball and teams will be targeting him. But I think he would be far better further up. Bomber Bidwell. Even all, some glory events throughout the season, just like Pato's goal and Bobby's in the last minute, but so frustrating that we never know what team is going to turn up each week. We never know what team's going to turn up in the half, never mind the whole game. Even parts of a half, you don't know what's going to happen, do you? It's, Crucial MVTS says Coventry Unseen, City Unseen is the best so far. Cheryl Davis, I must just have timed the talked injury and took 5 minutes and 30 seconds before the game restarted. So where did the 3 minutes come from? Yeah, it's so poor. I don't understand how. It's so obvious it was 5 minutes. And even with the 4 minutes in the second half should have been longer. And why does a player then go off the pitch, sort of rubbing his head slightly, and the ref stops us taking a goal kick when he's off the pitch? You know, you can still call the trainer around. He can deal with him off the pitch. I don't understand that at all.
And then he didn't have that time on at the end either, did he?
No. Chris, aerospace. We could do a bit of aerospace here tonight, the way things are going. I think they parked the bus after the first half. First half, they went for the second half, and they wanted a waypoint. Some great defending by them and needed something special to change things. Scott Brownsword. Hi, lads. Long time no see. I was gutted that I slipped from the halfway line for the ticket. Oh, was it you, Scott? Yeah.
He's still got two tickets to the balcony bar though, I believe, because Sprinkler, I think JD said it. They'd still give him the 30-yard reward, I believe.
I must admit, I felt rough. I felt sorry for him with all the sprinklers going off and that. So
yeah, that's why they said they'd still give him the 30-yard reward, which is two tickets to the balcony bar.
Oh, that's all right then. And I have to apologise, Scott. I did laugh. Lee Lishman, great shape by Patterson, set himself for the volley with a great technique. You could see what he was going to do. It was laid on a plate just where he wanted it. Some great stills of the volley going about. Poor Milan, says Chris Foster, having to take throw-ins on the right side and the left side now. Why has it taken almost 2 years seasons of him being here to do the throw-in more often?
He's actually got good at it as well now.
It's a weapon, isn't it? I mean, why have we waited for the last? It's probably been the last since Christmas, really. Well, since Frank's arrived. I don't understand. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Paul Stratton, front three, huffed and puffed again, but we struggled to create anything in the final third. Sheaf and Grimes need to swap positions. Sheaf far more aggressive defensively. We need Grimes further forward. It may happen. It may happen, Martin, when we go to Hull. We'll talk about that Sunday. That's right, yeah, Sunday. Yeah, lots of messages about my mic. Sounds like you're eating Rice Krispies, says Doug Bowler. Maybe I was Doug. I got some pork scratchings. Yeah. Finn reckoned it was you, Jack, but it wasn't Jack. It was me for a change. I think we all take it in turns, don't we, on this show?
I think I've been all right, to be fair, so far. Touch wood, touch wood.
Yeah. Everything's been great on your side. Yeah, well done. Gary says, I thought I'd dust in my phone speaker. Oh. Chris Aerospanks, yeah, Hashi jumping over the ball wasn't the best time at City. He didn't look like scoring. Simmons looks tired or just sleepy head. Hope Bassett gets takes his chance like Jamie has. Score late goals. I spoke to Miles earlier and he said in Singer's Corner, the derision by a lot of the fans when Haji sort of jumped over the ball. Strange.
Yeah, what was he doing? I mean, was he trying to avoid getting tackled? I mean, it's just baffling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the penalty area, take the hit.
Now this is interesting. Fran Hunter says, wish the TV cameras were opposite in the top tier of the corporate bit, which is so often half empty. I'd show the law support so much better as cameras would be looking at the packed stands. I think they can do that because, as we know, they cannot sell all those seats because we've talked about it because of the health and safety with the lounges. So I think if there's 700 seats up there, they can only sell 500 or something or 600. So they could easily put the cameras that side. Where do you sit, Mark? What block are you in?
Normally we're in block 19, but last Saturday we were in the Legends Day. So just to prove your point that the Legends Lounge, well, the lounge with the Legends event was packed, but the upper level was about half full, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And because normally I'm in 18, and there's normally a camera not far down from us, but it wasn't there last night. But there was a camera in the far corner. And I know when we had the supporters, remember, Jack, they spoke about this, how they were trying to move the cameras to get more people to sit down because they're taking up value. Because once you've got the camera there, you can't put people around them because you can't see anything. So, but yeah, the top tier is the best place, isn't it, up there, opposite?
Yeah, there was one in block 5, wasn't there? That's where it normally is, under the control room.
Chris Aerospace, nearly 29,000 fans. Corporate should be sold to the public if they don't use it. But Chris, it is. There's hundreds of people up there, but I'm saying they can't sell all the tickets because of the health and safety issue of it, which is bizarre. Claudia, how many people in hospitality actually watched the game? That side of the ground looked empty. They're all out. Nobody stays in the boxes because because of the shape of the boxes, you can't see anything. Basically, you have to come out. So they all come out. Everybody does. Because Jack, you've sat, I think where Mark would have sat when you've done the Mao Lounge. And when you're sitting there, it does look really busy, doesn't it?
It depends where you are. So I've done a box that's closer to the away fans than the balcony bar, and I've done the balcony bar. And when you're in the balcony bar and that middle bit fills up, the seats fill up quite well, assuming everyone comes out from having a pint in time. But the closer you are to the Mao Lounge, it's quite empty. When I was in the box that was closer to the away fans, there was about 10 people in the Mao Lounge that day, and all 10 of them went the other side of the ground or closer to the middle, to sit in seats in the middle. So I don't think they're stuck to the last 10 seats at that end. Otherwise, it would look very sporadic. I think what they're encouraged to do is squish into the middle sort of 50% of the seats and then let the gaps be at the ends. I think that's what they're encouraged to do.
Did you know where you had to sit, Mark? Because I spoke to one of the stewards saying you need to direct people because people coming out of there haven't got a clue where their ticket is.
I did because I've got experience up on the upper level there. So yeah, I knew exactly where we were going. But you're right, there was a lot of people sort of looking around vaguely. Where am I going? Looking at pretty much bigger seats around there. So yeah, we knew exactly where we were, and we were really lucky because we were on the front row, so we had a cracking view.
But also with that, because people that go up there, they're not there all the time. It's not like a season ticket. I'm sure there are a couple of season ticket holders that do that sort of thing, but it's not like I walk up the stairs at block 14 and I'm the fourth row and I'm the first seat. It's dead easy. People don't sit up there all the time, so you go there once, twice a season for a treat, and you just don't know where you're going. You have to literally slow down and check. And then you don't get people in the right place anyway.
Yeah, you have to look down rather than up because all the markings for which blocks you're on are actually painted on the floor.
Now, Jack's got a little something to show in just a moment. You didn't do it while I was off air, did you?
No.
Good. But first of all, right, are we the real deal, basically, for a top 6 finish? And out of 15 points, now we had 6 games, now down to 5 games, what's required? And do the fans have a role in these last 5 games now? Because these are going to be momentous, aren't they, Vicky? So what do you think then? We've got 5 games coming. What's your feelings now?
I actually feel more positive after the last couple of seconds last night, because I really feel like in football, there's quite often there's like feelings of fate, and I think a moment like last night is the sort of thing that sends you into a playoff, like into the playoffs. So genuinely, I'm feeling probably more optimistic now than I was at maybe like 90 minutes. I think the fans have got a massive part to play in it. I think because these are going to be some tough games. Everyone's like a cup final because every team we're playing is likely to have something. I think probably Plymouth will be the only one. I think sadly they'll have gone before we get to them. So I think probably Plymouth is the only one that's going to be like an opposition that's got nothing to play for. But every other team are going to be fighting for the points too. So they're all going to be like cagey games. Like last night, teams that are fighting for everything. So the fans like getting behind the players and sticking with them, even through the tough spells, is going to be like important, isn't it? And getting behind the 11 players that get picked. There's obviously been disputes all season about certain players and whether they should be playing. Like you likes to be Collins and De Silva. I think De Silva's been excellent in recent weeks. I think he deserves his starting place in the next few games unless something goes wrong. I think that he's been excellent, and but I think the fans got to play a big part in getting behind whoever's picked by Frank and trying to push us over the line now. If we want it, we've got to be there to play our part.
Well, I spoke to Miles earlier. He said that he felt the goal, Mark, last night was almost like the Ben Wilson moment at Blackburn Rovers. It's pretty much the same, I think, with about the same amount of games left in that season, where it's almost like that's turned it. Surely we're going to do it. Does it feel like that to you?
Sort of yes and sort of no, because we're actually in the playoffs. That the Ben Wilson point was the point we knew that we could get to the playoffs. So we're in that in it. So I'm starting to get heart palpitations just thinking about these last 5 games. But no, I think it, especially after the last 3 games we've had, it was good to just put a marker down and go, okay, we've got through that. We've got our 3 points. It's 5 games left. Let's go for it. We'll just see how it goes. But
yeah, it's going to be so tight. Jack, I'll come to you with this, and then you can lead us into your some stats. We got the stats man back.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many points necessarily we could get, but I can see Bristol losing at Ellen Road. I can see Bristol drawing at home to Sunderland. So even if they win their other 3, that's 10 points, right? We're a point behind them, so we need 11 to draw level with them, and our goal difference is inferior. So we need 12 to beat Bristol. Middlesbrough, before they come to us, they could win 3 and draw 1. They could win 2, draw 2. I think they don't have the hardest run. Although I did say watch out for Millwall earlier on in the show. And Bristol. I'm sorry. Yeah, Bristol. No, Middlesbrough play Millwall. Sorry, Middlesbrough play Millwall. It's on Saturday. So someone's dropping points. So I think Middlesbrough could quite easily get 8 before they come to us. If they get 8 before they come to us, we need 7 in the next 4 games to stay ahead of them, and then we just can't lose to them. So in theory, on that logic, we only need 8 if Middlesbrough get 7 before they come to us. So who knows? I mean, I'd quite like to get to 71 points because that would mean we better the playoff run from 2 years ago. We finished with 70. So if we could get to 71, it's the highest points total we've ever received, I believe. So we can't argue with that. So let's hope for that.
Yeah, I'm going up on Monday. I'm just hoping we get a really good result. Anything, basically. You can't afford to lose. I think, well, actually, it depends what happens over the weekend because, it might come Monday night. What are the fixtures on Saturday?
Bristol are away at QPR. Middlesbrough have got Millwall away, who are in form. QPR have just hit a little bit of form as well, I believe. So anything's possible. We'll know what we need, and if we only need a point, we should still go for the 3, obviously. But if we come away with a point from Hull, knowing that the others 2 are drop points, we can be okay with that.
See, if that was us going to Millwall Saturday, I wouldn't fancy that at all.
Like I say, Millwall have picked up some good form and some good results recently. The Den's not an easy place to go.
And you're saying Bristol at QPR?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they could lose that, although QPR are playing dreadfully at the minute. So, yeah, be interested. It could be a game. It could be a weekend where all 3 of us could win, actually, and all 3 could easily lose. It's.
I suppose we're talking about like that. So as I was going to say, I suppose it's a bit like we scored that last minute goal and got all excited, but Bristol City obviously did the same, so they've got that momentum and sort of feeling from that as well, haven't they? So we're not the only team that sort of had that bit of liberty this week.
Yeah, well, I just think, it's just a great place to be at the minute. I cannot believe, as somebody pointed out when we played Stoke away, and Miles filmed me as I walked out, and I went, we've got no chance playing like that. If we think we're going to get into the playoffs, we've got absolutely no chance. And we didn't look like a team that could get in the playoffs back at the first game of the season. And it carried on for a few months, didn't it, basically? But now you look at it, wow, it's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, a bit of pride, a bit of people talking about you again, and it just gives you a lift, doesn't it? Today was fantastic. I'm feeling a bit rough at the minute, but I wasn't too bad today. But I guarantee, I said at 93 minutes and 45 seconds, this show would have been totally different if it had stayed at 0-0, because you're kind of thinking, what are we doing? But that last 15 seconds changes everything, doesn't it? And that's how close it is now. So, Jack, you've got some stats, I believe.
Yeah, so anyone that watched last Thursday's show, I talked about goal scorers, goal scoring, basically, and how we compared to a couple of years ago. Today I'm looking at defending stats, errors, and goalkeeping stats, just to throw it in. So I'm looking at last season only compared to this season, just because the team was mostly the same, especially in defence, and obviously with Collins being our first choice now due to injury. It's mostly similar to last season. The stats from last season are the full season. I've not chopped it 5 games short like I have done in the past. So it is the full season. So last year, I'll start with the goals conceded in the top right. We conceded 59. We've only conceded 53 this year. So in 5 games, as long as we don't concede 6, technically we've been better. However, I believe clean sheets, we're significantly worse. Don't think significantly. I think we're close, but we're not doing as well for clean sheets. So maybe that will improve over the next couple of weeks, and we'll get there. Firstly, own goals from last season. Bobby Thomas got 2. Liam Kitchen got 2. This is official stats only. it took a deflection, and obviously Liam Kitchen got 2 in the same game against Cardiff at home. If anyone remembers that was a fun one. We've only conceded 3 own goals this season, and it's a bit more of a spray. It's still Thomas and Kitchen, but Latty's got 1 as well, unfortunately. Penalties, however, we conceded 3 last season, only 1 this year. Does anyone remember the game on the panel? No.
I can't think.
No. Okay, it was Luton at home. It was the first goal, about 15 minutes in. Sakamoto dragged the bloke down, and that was 1-0 down.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Last season, we conceded 3. Bobby Thomas conceded 1. Latty conceded 1. And Anthony Taylor decided to give Preston a penalty. If anybody remembers that, technically it's accredited that Fads gave it away, but we all know that didn't happen. And then the main point I wanted to look at was errors leading to goals, significantly higher last year. So 3, 5, 7, 9, 10, 14 errors leading to goals by outfield players. This year, only 5. So we've not conceded as many goals, but only just. The point is the errors that are leading to goals have decreased. So in one way, it means the defence is being torn apart a bit more because we're conceding a similar amount of goals. But it means at least it's not our cock-ups. It just means we're not as good as we want to be. So I don't know whether you want to look at that as a positive or a negative. It's a bit of both, I suppose. But you've got to stop errors, basically, if you want to move forward. And that's kind of where we're going. I know we had the one at the weekend, but let's not mention that. And then goalkeeping stats. I broke it down between the 3 keepers. Obviously, Dovin wasn't with us last season, so you can ignore the slightly different coloured cells. But this season, we've got 13 clean sheets. Last season, it was 14, and we've got 5 games to go. So we could better that. We could equal it. Goals conceded, though, just looking at last season, Wilson played 18 times and conceded 26 goals. Collins played 28 times, conceded 33 goals. That's just the league, so that's 46 appearances, and that's the 59 goals. It's more than a goal a game, even with the clean. I mean, if you take the clean sheets out of the equation, so Collins gets 28 games and 8 clean sheets, so he conceded 33 goals in 20 games. It's a goal and a half a game, more than. This season, it's similar. It's still just under a goal and a half a game that we're conceding, and that kind of goes for all the keepers anyway, based on clean sheets as well. So it's still an area we need to improve. We all know Oliver Dovin's been pretty good for us recently, but to in 20 games where he's not kept a clean sheet, we've conceded 30. So statistically, if we concede 1, we might concede 2. That's the issue. We are scoring more, as I explained last week. Mm-hmm. But then save percentage, Dovin and Wilson are actually very similar. They're just pushing 70% for the save percentage. Collins, nowhere near this season. He's 52.6. So we all know that Collins, he kept a clean sheet yesterday. He didn't have a lot to do, to be honest. But he's really not saving as much as he should be. Last season, he was the top in the division, I believe, the save percentage at 75.9. It's a bit of a fall off. I know it's less games played this season, but he'll play the next 5 probably. That's the concerning thing is the save percentage. So we need to stop shots coming our way, which again sort of comes back to the errors that are leading to goal. We're making less errors that lead to goals, so maybe that's a good thing that we're not conceding the shots. And then I've got errors leading to goal by the goalkeepers as well. So it's 5 last year, it's 5 this year. Obviously 3 goalkeepers to distribute it out against rather than just the 2 last year. So again, it's another area we need to address. And we all know that Dovin is out until gone Christmas, maybe till the January transfer window. So it does beg the question, do we go and get another goalkeeper in the summer? That's the main question and another defender. we can talk about the defence, but specifically on a goalkeeper, do we do we need to get another number one goalkeeper? And just to add, I was chatting to someone outside the ground yesterday, just saying about first choice goalkeepers we've had in the last 10 years. So I've been following Cov 9-10 years properly. And I've seen Reece Charles Cook, Lee Burge, Liam O'Brien, Marco Morosi, Ben Wilson, Brad Collins, Oliver Dovin. There's probably one I'm missing out there, but that's 7 that I can name off the top of my head, and that's in 9 to 10 years. So it just proves we've never been able to. Oh, Simon Moore, there's the 8th. There's 8 goalkeepers in 9 seasons. We're just unable to nail down a proper number one keeper. Dovin looked like he was going that way. Unfortunate injury, but again, it just cycles back. Do we need to go out and buy a big number one keeper again, or do we dip in the loan market and see what younger Premier League players are available? There's the question I leave out in the open for the panel and for the comments.
Yeah, I think we'll end up in the loan market, especially if Dovin's out till somewhere near Christmas.
That's great stuff there, Jack. Well done, mate.
Really
Thank
interesting.
As Nikuli Boiti says, I don't know if you say it or not, but so they've just tuned in. I've lost it. Typical. I had it a minute ago.
That one there.
That's it. Good stats and presentation as usual. Just logged in and I'm fully in tune. Just as well I just logged in now because the sound was dreadful earlier. So it's like Marconi and the first time was it Dr. Crippen they caught when he went across the Atlantic. The first time they used Morse code to tell the coppers over there in I think it was New York that he was arriving. Yeah, bit of history for you. His mistress was dressed up as a small boy. There you go. Got nothing to do with Coventry City, but there you go. Anyway, Lee Dan, Claudio, do you think speaking to the powers that be regarding moving the TV camera as you did getting our Cov banner back to the stands? We can have a chat, can't we? God, they must get fed up of me and Miles and whoever else is saying, knocking on the door. And another thing. We can all but try. Back on track. I love the fact that FL watched Pato's Insta, passion in his heart and fire in his belly. The gaffer has it all. I've got to say, I do like Frank Lampard, Vicky. Do you like Frank Lampard?
I do like Frank Lampard. Yeah. I think actually, the more that time's gone on, I actually think that he was a good fit for what we needed at the time as well, because I think obviously we had a legacy that we were moving on from. It needed a character that could carry that and get the fans on board relatively quickly. And I think obviously everyone knows who Frank is. People have watched him, respect him as a player, and he could bring that to our club and sort of get people on board quickly. And it's actually boded well for the sort of tail end of the season, hasn't it? And I think really, I guess the worry is that he's doing well and the teams will be looking and what will happen, and we have to hope that he sticks it out long enough to get the job done. But yeah, at the moment it's all good, isn't it?
And obviously, Mark, you got the rumour mills already started with Southampton looking for a manager. And Frank Lampard apparently is getting prepped for a Premier League job, but I can't see it being Southampton since they're not in the Premier League now. So that's going to be. Why would you want to go there apart from money?
Well, I thought Danny Rowe was nailed on for Southampton, but no, you're right. I mean, if you're prepping for a Premier League side, Southampton's not that side, is it?
No, and actually, Jack, I don't think there's too many Premier League managers clubs looking for managers at the minute, because I think apart from the bottom three, whoever else is in there are doing as much as they can. Right?
Yeah, give it 6 months, and Man United might be. But no, you're right. I don't think there's a vacant job that stands out. Maybe Tottenham, but would Lampard be the Tottenham manager? I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
Can't see that.
Well, Ryan Matthews says, Matthew J, it's a confidence thing with Collins. I'm sure of it. I'm not saying he's amazing. He's no Dovin, but he's better than what we had. He's better than what he has been this season. Now, the thing with Dovin, Jack, I don't remember too many fans coming out at the start of the season saying he's magnificent.
No, and he wasn't magnificent. He was calmer and more collected on the ball. We didn't seem to. I didn't feel worried as a fan when we passed the ball at the back. I did with Collins and a bit with Wilson, but there just seemed to be a bit more stability with Dovin in the goal in terms of playing out from the back. Obviously, then picked up the injury. Wilson came in. He was dropped. Wilson came in. Then Dovin came back in, and then Dovin was out, and Collins played his few games, and it was really like in out. He wasn't.
Check it all about.
Yeah. The confidence clearly wasn't there. And after the Pompey game, Frank clearly said, Ollie, you're my number one now. Go and take that position. And he has done. So maybe he was bought in and we clearly said, you're going to be the number one. Maybe a bit of complacency kicked in. But when he realised that he wasn't going to play every single game, I know the injury didn't help him, but he could have come back earlier. And Collins got the benefit of the doubt for a while. But clearly at that point, when he was given that you're my number one now, go and earn your position, he has, and he's performed fantastically until his next injury, unfortunately.
Now, we've got some comments about this. Now, Ian Small says a lone keeper for the season. That'd be one way of doing it. It wouldn't cost so much money, would it? Get a good Premier League lone keeper. That'd be good, wouldn't it, actually? That's probably what we need. Nikuli BOT says, don't need another goalkeeper, need a stronger defence. I mean, Bell could be good for all we know. I mean, he's getting good reports on his scouting. Gustav Audio, shouldn't we get a quality young keeper on loan from the Premier League team instead of signing one permanently? Paul Stratton, we need to buy the Stoke City keeper, then job done. Dovin, the best we've had since Westwood is only 22. Stick by him and bring in a loan for me. Said it correctly, thank you. Well, there you go. I'm quite pleased with that, actually. The thing is, I mean, you mentioned the goalkeepers. You're right, Jack. You need a goalkeeper in a squad you want them here for 2 or 3 seasons or just solid. I don't think how you can cope with a different keeper every year. It was getting ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, between the Premier League teams and the Championship teams, I'm sure if you looked at a team, you could go, "Oh, they were a number one," and whoever you named would be a number one for a number of years. I don't remember a time where we've had a number one keeper who's been the number one keeper in 2 consecutive seasons. And like I said, going back from Reece Charles Cook, Joe Murphy's the previous one, slightly before me, that was a good keeper for the level we were at and was a couple of seasons long from memory. But like I say, from Reece Charles Cook onwards, it's been a season and a half at most, and then they've either been dropped or picked up an injury and not bounced back, as we found out from Morosi a few weeks ago. So it's one of them. You need a keeper, and you need him to be, that's our keeper. He's the number one. We don't have to worry. He'll make a couple of mistakes, as everyone does, but he's the man. And we need someone like that, and that can be here for a few years. Dovin hopefully is that person, but with an ACL, like we say, we're looking at 2026, aren't we?
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, we have got some stuff to housekeeping, as they call it, I think. So home game parking, of course, big parking. Also coach travel, which I'll be travelling with on me and Ken on a date night to Hull. 3 hours there, 3 hours back, probably a bit longer. It'll only feel like 2 hours if we win, of course. Sky Blue Fans TV will be live down at Plymouth, all being well. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Micky Quinn. There it is on the... I can't see the date on it now. 2nd of May, sorry. Yeah, 2nd of May. It's right in front of me. I know, it's one of those nights, isn't it? And also, this is definitely happening. This is next Thursday, isn't it? Super Matty Godden will be here on the 17th of April, and hopefully will be all systems go, which is amazing because he's got a game the following day. So we're really pleased with that. And we weren't sure what was going to happen, but he said he's definitely coming on. So get some of your questions lined up. Maybe get questions to us beforehand as well, and we can get some ready. Also, look at this, a mug and a coaster. I don't know if that's the price of them, but anyway, that's what you can win when you win the competitions. And also remember Keaton's Day. Has that now got the new? Well, the dates have changed, doesn't it? So
new date and new location, isn't it?
It's happening in July now, isn't it? But once we get that sorted, I'm sure Miles will put that all up and running. Of course. Also next Thursday, the unveiling of the statue at 1 p.m. Miles will be there. So if you're going to go, say hello to Miles. He'll interview you, and we'll do little clips before. That's what we're hoping to do before Matty Godden comes on Thursday night. And just in case, I don't know if you saw us at the start, but I did put this up here. He calls it a batch, and I had a fantastic opening, and it didn't work, and I'm really annoyed about it. But never mind. There you go. I think I wrecked the system, Vicky, without me trying to be clever. There you go.
Ever since then, it took till now to warm up, hasn't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So, Otis Thomason says, David said in that interview he did that Lampard really got into him and helped with talking more, being more vocal on the pitch really helped his confidence and performances came. Paul Stratton, we're crying out for a number one keeper. We can't afford to wait till next April for David to come back. Up to no good. I was at the Norwich game, Mark, in the West End.
I was in the main stand.
Yeah. That was the place to be. Oh, that's where I used to be anyway.
One of the few times I was in there, to be honest.
Yeah. Paul Cutterford, if the rumour mill is right, then we should spend a few million on a decent settled keeper with the money Wolves are willing to buy for Sims. Oh, I'd be amazed if Wolves buy Sims. Absolutely amazed. So overall then, we're going to wrap the show up now, I think. Vicky, last night, all three of you summarise last night then.
Massive news.
You go first, Vicky. Summarise last night.
Summarise. He calls it a batch. Come on.
What about you, Mark? How would you summarise that win last night?
I've actually bought my batch.
Oh,
Love it.
Brilliant. Jack?
Local lad erupts arena. How about that?
Blimey. Right. I think shall I do my little speech that I was going to do at the start of the show?
Give it a go.
Go for it.
I'm going to give it a go. If I can get it on I can't get it across the screen. I'll have to look this way because it's written over here on the other screen, but bear with. Here we go. Here we go, everybody. Now, this was going to be at the start of the show, so bear with, right. It was a spring evening in Coventry, and as the sun dipped low over the CBS arena, a football tale worthy of Charles Dickens himself was about to unfold right here in the heart of the Midlands. Welcome to Sky Blue Fans TV, where tonight we relive a match that could have leapt straight from the pages of Great Expectations. Portsmouth, the birthplace of Dickens, came to town hoping to write their own happy ending, but little did they know this story belonged to us. In true Dickensian fashion, the night was full of tension, toil, and a touch of the theatrics. The Sky Blues, like Oliver Twist, kept asking for more chances, more pressure, more belief. And just when it seemed we might be left with hard times, when the final page was almost turned, up stepped our very own Jamie Patterson. A Coventry lad, born of this city, shaped by its spirit, Jamie struck with a last gasp winner that Ebenezer Scrooge himself would have leapt out of bed to celebrate. It was pure football poetry, a tale of two cities, written not in ink, but in passion and pride. So join us as we turn back the pages on a night to remember, where the Sky Blues showed grit, heart, and a little bit of Dickens magic. This, folks, was no bleak house. This was our house, and it belonged to the mighty Sky Blues. We are Sky Blue Fans TV. We bid you good night. Play up Sky Blues.
Play up, Sky Blues.
It's called a batch.
It's called a match, Mark. And Mark, thank you very much for coming on tonight. We'll have you back on again, definitely.
Sky Blue Fans TV, for the fans, by the fans.